Hello, this is our webinar, How to Start a Module Production. My name is Thoma. I am in the business of solar industry since 25 years. Actually, we build up to between 55 and 60 factories. So we have some experience to make solar module production. In this webinar, we want to show you how to start the production line and how to save a lot of money. This is not for people who wants to do 200 megawatt, 600 megawatt or 1 gigawatt. This is for people who wants to do a small line with a small budget. Yeah? After the webinar, you have the possibility to talk to us for 30 minutes. This is free of cost. So in this 30 minutes you can ask every question which is not answered by me in this webinar, and after that you can decide to go ahead with us or not. So we prepared a workflow which is now on the wall, where every single step is described, is explained. So, especially you see the red points or red balloons are materials which come into the factory. And these materials are flux. Flux you need to make a good solder point. Ribbon is for taking the solar cells in serial connection. And solder is the tin which makes, together with these three articles, you can make soldering. On the other side, you get in EVA or desert foil, you get a backsheet and you get a barcode. This is for the first steps. This flow, we already explained this three on left and right side materials which we need to make good solar modules. The most important materials, of course, for a solar module is the solar cell, which is on top, and the solar glass, which is left side on top. With these materials you can make now all these steps until here. So now let's go point for point what we do. Let's begin with the left side. We have the solar glass, and our recommendation is to wash the solar glass in a manual washing station, or better in an automated inline washing station. The second part is, after the glass is clean and dry, we have to place the EVA foil or the desert foil. And on the right side you see, we already discussed about flux, ribbon and solder. Now we need, in stables of 100, 200 or 300 packages, the solar cells, which are input material for the stringing process. In a stringing process, every solar cell is connected in line, serial, with the next solar cell. Normally we have 10 solar cells for one string. For the big module you have 12 solar cells. These are the most common solar modules. So the first step in this row is stringing, then input glass and foil, the layout, which means the strings are placed onto the solar module, onto the glass with the foil. Then comes the buzzing, which of course needs solder and ribbons and flux. To solder the strings again in serial for the complete solar module. Then you see there is a backsheet, there is an EVA or a desert foil, and there's a barcode. We place on top of them another foil with some backsheet with some barcode in between. Then we do the first important test facility, which is the EL testing. Before we make the string test, we make the logical test, we make the visual test, and if everything is ready, we bring in the smallest solution 1 module into the laminator, in the biggest solution 6, sometimes 8 modules in one laminator. The laminator is doing the heating and he takes away all the air, he makes the vacuum, not to have bubbles, which are B-glass, C-glass modules. And finally, we have, after laminating, a cooling, because then the modules are 155 degrees hot, you cannot touch them. You have to cool it down again to 45 degrees. And we have the first station after the lamination area. This is pre-laminating, this is laminating, and this is after laminating. Thank you. For trimming and for taping, you need tape and you need some slippery fluid to cover the edges of the solar module with this tape, and later on to adapt the frames, which is done in the framing machine. Trimming means the overflowing plastic foil, cut it exactly with the area of the glass. Then you need, on the right side, aluminium corners and 4 parts of aluminium profiles, which are 2 long and 2 short versions. Yeah? After that, if it's framed, you make the boxing, and for that you need the J-box, which is the junction box, and the cables. And then you have to solder. Some are only for sticking. For fixing, you have to make again a visual check. And of course, very important, this is the simulation of the sun, and we call it flashing. Nowadays, for example, we have now an LED flasher, which is very fast. You have not to wait 40 seconds, 1 minute for the next flash, and with this version we can do 10 flashes in 1 or 2 seconds. Again, we need a label on the rear side of the module. We make another EL testing, we make a hypo test, we make the packaging, of course, and then we get out Class A modules and sometimes Class B modules. So this is also in your members area. You can again look step for step, and if you have some questions, call us and we will explain your special questions in this procedure. Now let's go to the next step to show a running production in our videos. This is a factory we did for customer, I think it was 1 year ago. So it's a very modern factory, it's not old size, it's not old fashioned. Now we show a 400 to 600 megawatt desert solar factory, which is a huge factory. I think it's the biggest factory we ever did in the past, and this factory is even prepared to get in the gigawatt area. I think this is a very, very good example to show you how a new modern professional production will look. You see, the factory has a total size of 43,000 square meters, and 10,300 square meters is the building area. And here is another ground. So ground is 43,000 square meters and only the buildings are 10,300. This is the production building for the people, this is the production building for the store, and this is the production building for all the machineries. Now let's go inside the machinery, inside this area. You see, this is one line, a second line, it's in total 8 lines. And now we have the first process, which is the stringing process. You see the solar cells are connected. Now they make the loading of the magazine, and this is the control, the final control after the washing facility. You see, this is the loading area, this is the cleaning area, and this is the drying area, and finally the modules are placed to 90-degree horizontal to cover it with the first foil. Now you see, it's a 90-degree turning unit. This is an old-fashioned layup system which we did maybe 5 years ago. In the next picture you see a robot driven, which is 60 megawatt capacity, and the latest version, which is installed in Turkey for 4 times, is a robot layup with 120 megawatt. Now you see in this version the manual buzzing, the buzzing is done manually, but in the second step we install the automatic buzzing, which everything is done automatically. This is a control unit and a string test unit. The next step is EL testing, which is this machine. Yeah? And after that, the modules are clear. This is a comprehension. You see, this is the buzzing system, this was the layup system. Now the modules are ready for loading. You see here, now this was the loading process. And you see all the laminators, 8 in rows. And now the modules are ready. This is the cooling area, by the way. After the cooling is done, the solar modules come to the so-called trim area. But this video shows again the loading of the solar modules. It's nice just to see how it works. So now you see all modules are in and the chamber is closed. Now we make the vacuum. Again, another open laminator which closes. So now comes the trim station as mentioned before, and you see all this overflowing plastic is removed and is cleaned from the solar module. This is a very fast work. A worker normally can do it below 30 seconds. So the throughput is very, very good. Now he takes the taping unit and he places the tape on the edge of the solar modules. You see, also very fast. In 20 seconds, he is ready with that. Then he makes the slippery fluid. Now, he removes the security foil, and now he is doing the framing. In this installation, I think we have 10 framers. I'm not quite sure, 8 or 10. Now you see the placement of the junction boxes, and in this case, they only connect by crimping. By clinching. Yeah? Now the module is ready, and this is the junction box for dispensing some silicone on the back side of the junction box. Before flashing, we have a climate to bring down the solar module exactly to 25 degrees. You see now the flasher, and I think in this case it's 5 flashes. Yeah? Yeah. In the movie you only saw 2, but it's 5, believe me. Now the next station, which is hypod test. It's a test for 6,000, 7,000 volt, 25 seconds, and it's a test between junction box and the frame. This is an optical manual control, and you see at the end of the line there's another EL testing. After the final check is okay, we do another check to show all the solar cells. You see, no, you don't see, it's not a good picture, but you can see every solar cell and you can see every even micro cracks. Of course, there's a lot of laboratory, there's a lot of test facilities which has not to be done with every module. For example, the G test we do every shift, in the beginning, at the end, and we show if everything is okay. We have a bending test, we have a hail test, we have, this is the bending test, by the way, we have hail test, we have let me say 10 different tests to prove finally not each module but maybe 10% of them. Now you see this is the output and input stock building. It's 2,500 square meters. This is the end of the video. It's not the end, but the end of the production process. If you like, you can watch it and see how how the solar modules are loaded, how the solar modules are made for power plants, and a lot of things more. But this is not important for our production video. You saw the production process. You even saw, I think, a very good video to produce 600 megawatt of solar modules. Now let's talk about what you need, especially to start a module production. And let's talk about customers which have not the millions or the billions of budget, which have a very small budget. And for this reason, you need three main products. Let me say products. Yeah. First, you need a factory building. In my opinion, because of the low budget, you should rent it. Okay? Then, of course, you need the machineries. Of course, not so much machineries as you saw in the video. And you need the materials. It's called bill of materials, the BOM list. Yeah? These three informations or products, it's very important to have it. So for the building, if we start with a low budget production, a few hundred square meters, between 300 and 600 square meters, you can do a lot of. Most of the small productions you can solve with this kind of building. For the machineries, there are only three main machines. First, the stringer, and the stringer must be automated soldering, can be manually stringer to make it cheap. The laminator can be manual loaded, not automatically loaded. They call it clamshell version for 1 or 2 modules. And the third very important machine is the flashing machine. So these machines, I think, you cannot do by yourself. You cannot build these machines by yourself. You have to buy them. All the other machines, I think, you should be able to make it with your own capabilities. The third point is the material. And the material, of course, you get supplied by us. We will tell you where you get the best material for the best price, where the relation is the best. Good quality and good price. And this is how we should start this module production. Below the video, there is also the workflow you saw before. And you see in the workflow on the left side and on the right side all the materials you need to make a solar module. And these are the materials what we mean with the bill of material list, with the BOM list. And of course we will supply all the suppliers for this and even help you to get it certified to make a good solar module. Now let's talk about the budget. The budget is, of course, very different if you have a big installation and very low if you have a small installation. So I think the lowest you can ever start is something round about 99,000 euro. This is a very low budget for a production. It does not include materials, not include building. It's only the machineries. And even the machineries, you have to make the minor machineries by yourself. So what is included in this? Included in this is stringer. Included is laminator. And included is LED flasher. Also included is help for the minor machines. Yeah? Which means we show you how to do it. Maybe you can also make a visit in our factory and we show you some of the machines which you can do by yourself. Also included is another point. Let me say it's the bill of material list where we show what supplier is good for aluminium, for solar cell, for ribbon, for flux, for all that materials you need to make this production. Now let's talk about the most important quality of a solar module. A solar module you want to produce must be first class quality, because otherwise you are not able to compete with all the other suppliers from China, from Taiwan, from America, from Japan, from Europe, because they are in the market and they have quality. So the most important points for a solar production is to have, and you see I just prepared it, to have a perfect soldering. A perfect soldering means perfect soldering for the solar cell connection, or also called stringing. A perfect soldering means soldering must be perfect for the buzzing, which means the connection between the strings. This is one very important point. Later on I will come to this because of machinery. The second quality point is to have a perfect lamination. And perfect lamination means not to have some bubbles, for example, into the solar module. Not to have strings which swim or swam a little bit left, a little bit right, yeah? So you see the picture, the distance between the strings is not regular, is not perfect. Perfect lamination means you have a backsheet side which is like a mirror, not like a sand or like a beach. And these are the most two important quality points of a solar module. Now, on the other hand, we talk about your small budget. You do not have millions to make the machines. But also, next point is you want a perfect quality. Okay, I think we agree in this. And this means there are at least 2 or 3 machines which you have to buy from suppliers who did a lot of research in these 2 quality points. And the first machine you have to buy, we do not think you can develop this machine, is a stringer. And the stringer makes a perfect soldering between the solar cells. So the solar cells are soldered to strings. And the second machine, which you have to buy from suppliers, is a so-called laminator. Maybe a little bit in brackets, but I also think it's a machine you should buy, is LED flasher. So these machines you can buy used and refurbished, you can buy new one, you can buy a semi-automated machine, you can buy a fully automated machine. If it's a fully automated machine, of course the price is high. If it's semi-automated machine, also the price is high. If you have a refurnished machine, but with guarantee, the price is low. Even maybe you can buy a laminator from China and then you have a very low price. So this is one point to make your invest into the solar business with small budget. Now let's talk about the machines where we think they cannot be made by yourself. And there's only one machine. You see, I just know this stringer buzzing laminator LED flasher. There's only one machine which you can do by hand, and this is the buzzing with a buzzing station, which is maybe only a passive conveyor, a simple place with some hot iron, of course with a very, very good control of the solder temperature, for example Vela or similar very good companies, not expensive. You can do this manually by hand, and you can, or I can accept this kind of quality. But if you do this, your control of the quality should be very good, regular, and in every shift you should take out some of the modules and make a check of the buzzing quality. So this means a machine which you can do by yourself. The second solder machine, and it's more important because it's more solder points, is the stringing process. And in this case, my recommendation is to make it manual. Yes, only if you really do not have the money for buying a machine. So let's do it in brackets, because it's not a really recommendation. If you are on a low budget, maybe you can buy machines from China. Quality, of course, is not as good as with European, American or Japanese machines or suppliers. And there is another very important possibility to save money, and this is used and refurnished machines. But to buy used refurnished machines, you need a good knowledge of machinery, know-how, and maybe you need someone who will give you some recommendations if this machine is used and refurnished and it's a good machine and it's for the future. For example, at the moment I wouldn't buy a cheap stringer with 2 bus bars. I even would not buy with 3 bus bars. Maybe 4 bus bars, but it must have the possibility to be extended to 5, 6, 7, maybe to 12 bus bars. And this is one possibility. The second possibility, you see, I make it green, yeah, which is my recommendation. Now let's go to the third machine, which you have to buy, which you cannot do by yourself. There is again possibility to buy this laminator in China, and the price is pretty good low, but quality is not perfect. It's not first class. Maybe you get a good average module, but not a premium module. And again, and this is again my recommendation, a used machine, which is maybe made in Germany or made in Japan or made in America, and refurnished. And again, also in this case, you need someone who gives you consultants, who gives you recommendations. This laminator you can buy and this not. The most important thing I told you for the stringer is the number of bus bars. The most important thing for the laminator is the number of solar modules, which is not so much a quality feature, but if you invest in a laminator and you can do 2 modules in one cycle, and you have another one which is same quality, maybe a little bit more expensive, but you can do 4 modules, I would recommend to take the 4 module laminator. So this is my recommendation for the laminator. Now let's go to the last machine, which is LED flasher. And LED flasher is not improving the quality, but it is your TÜV stamp, like on a car, that your module is in the range of, let me say, 365 watt and flashed at a very good flasher. And in this case, my recommendation is not China. My recommendation is to buy it made in Germany or in Europe. And just to give you an idea, for 30,000 euros you can easily get a machine which is good enough for the solar module production. So you see, I make now a summary. Yeah? The stringer, my recommendation is a used one. The buzzing, my recommendation is to make it by yourself. The laminator, my recommendation is to buy a used, good machine. And the LED flasher is the recommendation, please buy a new one made in EU and made in Germany, or made in Germany, which is LED based. Stringer, buzzing, laminator, LED flasher. I think with this you have 90% of the solar module production. Of course you need some minor machines, and I call it others. For example, washing facility, for example, trimming facility, for example, control, which is a simple mirror below the solar module, for example, hypot test, for example, junction box, connection junction box, electrical supply, and lot of other small machines, mainly for the quality check. And this I call now others. Here, also with these small machines, you have the possibility to buy it in China. And offshore, you see, I will not make a question mark on that, because offshore, if you buy a cheap framer from China, no problem. If you buy a cheap control station, no problem, maybe for $4,000, $6,000. For sure, if you buy a trimming station from China, you cannot do too much wrong. Of course, you can do wrong in any case, but these are machines which you can buy typically from China, and you get these machines for a very low budget. But there is also the possibility to make the machines in a better quality by yourself. Which means you can do these machines very easy in your home country from a home machinery builder, which is maybe a friend and gives you an extra good price. Then you can improve the quality and the features of the China machine and maybe get the same price. And we will help you to make the design of these machines, to make the specification, but to explain now how to do is far too less time to explain. Therefore, our offer is, if you have questions about all we did in these small videos, take the half hour you have and ask us for advice. You can get this advice by WhatsApp. In the last videos, we explained a lot about how to start a solar business. I think together with our know-how, with the know-how of Patrick Thoma and Hans Thoma, which is me and Patrick is my son, you have the possibility to make a very good production with high quality, with low budget, and with German quality solar modules. And I just can offer you, take this chance. Come to us and let's discuss about your personal situation, how to start this business. Solar is a business of the future. This is really future business. It doesn't destroy environment. It helps your children to make a good solution and to get away from atomic, from coal, from gas. Just renewable. The sun is shining the next 10 billion years. Okay, thank you for attention.